I look back now on the events that led me to this very moment. Some I saw coming while others blindsided me. After everything that happened, even as a scientist, I had to believe it was a miracle I was still alive. I guess I should start at the event 7 years ago that started this odd journey. By the way, let me introduce myself. Can't tell you a story without first knowing who it's about. My name is Dalen, Dr. Dalen Outmere, scientist inventor extraordinaire. Yeah, that's me there, ugly bastard, but very smart. Have to be in the top 10 scientists of the world. I've been an inventor since I was young. By the time I had entered college at the age of 13, I knew I wanted to be an inventor/scientist. As I made my way through college, I made massive waves in the scientific community with my inventions that were spread across the board. Once I'd reached the end of school, I had over 127 inventions that had made me a billionaire, along with my wife Allie and our two apprentices, who I wanted to call minions, but it was quickly shot down. Well, I guess it's not too much to call them Elia and Aaron. Contracts poured in as we opened the business. They poured in from companies, businesses. Business was good, so why was I so unhappy? It seemed that no matter what, it seemed that I could not live up to my siblings, my older brother and my younger sister. Even though I was a billionaire, a scientist, and had a loving wife and good relationship with my fellow employees. Contracts were good. There were dozens from governments worldwide that wanted my inventions for me to break leaps and bounds of the world. Then one day, all that changed. I received a phone call one morning from my sister-in-law telling me that my brother had had an accident and was now in the top stage of a coma. She asked me, as a smart and brilliant man, to do something to cook up an invention that would help him. I was able to create what I called the comatose. It was an invention that would be able to send a person in and fix damage done to the human mind, something that no doctor had ever been able to do. I worked diligently day and night for months, weeks, and then in the end, it did not matter. My sister-in-law had pulled the plug as she could no longer stand seeing her husband, my brother, in pain. She had sadly robbed me of the one thing I had wanted the most, to be able to have my brother be able to look up to me, to actually have my family care about how I had actually done things, to pretty much move up in the hierarchy that was my family. Defeated by this setback, I went back to my normal contracts, leaving the comatose in the back of my laboratory. 7 years then passed by, business as usual, and then one morning I got a phone call from my sister-in-law again. It seemed that history had repeated itself, and my niece was now in the top tier coma, one that most people were never able to get out of. However, I had not cared much for my family over those 7 years. I had not heard from her or my niece. They had turned their back after my brother's death. It seemed my niece had overdosed on drugs and alcohol during a party. Yes, she was a worthless whore, and I did not care for her. She had wasted her life. After moments of time of hearing her bitch and whine about how I shouldn't let her precious daughter become like my brother, I hung up on her. After 10 plus calls, I finally pulled the plug on the phone and went soundly back to sleep. In the morning, however, I woke to my sister-in-law demanding to see me. Seems like I couldn't avoid her for long. Once I had gotten ready, it turned out my assistant, Elia, was standing by, waiting for me. I had been around her for many years, and I could tell by the look on her face that she wanted me to reconcile and fix the problem. After a moment, I could not say no, and I nodded yes. If I had known what was to transpire, I would have stayed with my original no. We quickly went about finishing the minor setups of the comatose, which my lovely assistants had nicknamed the rebooter. As the old saying goes, the human mind is like a computer. Quickly, we rushed it to the hospital and hooked my niece and myself. Since it was my invention, I decided that it was my duty to hook myself into it. As I booted into the system, I found that I was not prepared for the sheer damage that was inside. The human mind is magnificent, a truly piece of work. I set about repairing the damage, not knowing what lied ahead. It seemed that there was a nasty piece of work waiting for me. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I had to take care of it and able to save her, and now to save myself. In the end, I may not be prepared for it.